Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, One Love. We're bringing you your AEW Dynamite review for September 30th, 2020. It's a solid show. A bunch went to go over. We had Ricky Starks face Darby Allin, a solid opener. We had the first of the brush of greatness for FTR. They faced off against SCU. We had Cody in his response to Brodie Lee for a dog collar match for the TNT Championship. And we also had Jon Moxley face off against an opponent of Eddie Kingston's choosing. We'll go all of that. But again, thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the podcast, like and subscribe for all your sports content and pro wrestling reviews. Thank you all, and let's get into the review, shall we? So, the show started off, like I said, really pretty good opener between Ricky Starks and Darby Allin. At first, I thought this match could have headlined the show, but was a great way to start. Ricky Starks, Darby Allin started off quick. Obviously, it's been building for weeks. And they showed kind of a little review of when, or a little spotlight when Darby Allin eliminated Ricky Starks from the Casino Battle Royal back at All Out. That was a nice fight, and I'm not sure, but one of Darby Allin's friends, it was a weird vignette. It was shot, I believe, outside his house somewhere. There was a big ramp, and his friend said that um, it'll take more than body bags and dump tags to take care of Darby Allin. There was a body bag filled with something that went up this ramp and jumped off. I'm not sure if Darby Allin was in that body bag, but it was something. Nonetheless, Darby Allin made his entrance and it started off hot. Ricky Starks, he went for a spear right off the bat, but it was countered into a guillotine choke. They traded some spots back and forth. Darby hit a suplex, a beautiful snap suplex onto Starks onto the apron. Taz was at ringside, or excuse me, not ringside, on commentary. Tony Schiavone, he was not on commentary. He was or actually he was in an interview later in the show, and you'll find out why. But so Darby had tope suicida after. Then Cage came out, but he was thwarted by Will Hobbs and two behemoths, two physical specimens going at it, and Will Hobbs and Brandon Cage, they fought to the back. So Will Hobbs sword off Brian Cage. Now it's a one-on-one match between Starks and Darby Allin. So after that spot on the apron, Starks' back was the target of Darby Allin. Darby hit a code red for a 2 count, and then he hit a stunner, and then went for some sort of springboard off the middle rope, but was intersected with a brutal spear out of midair by Starks for a near fall. But both Darby and Starks were on the top rope. Starks went for the Rochambeau off the top rope. Darby, he kicked Starks off the top rope. It looked like he landed on his shoulder, and then Darby hit the coffin drop to the lower back of Starks, and then pinned him for the win. Nice win for Darby Allin. Ricky Starks is really good, although he's fairly new still to the AEW audience. But this is a good win, right outcome. Will Hobbs and Brian Cage, apparently that's going to go down next week, but I believe that'll be a good test for Will Hobbs, and I would think we're going to get Darby Allin versus Brian Cage in the future, but this was a good match to open the show. So next up, we have Cody's in-ring response to Brodie Lee. He was with Dasha. He talked about the respect he had for the business and advice from the man who trained him, Al Snow. Talked about never wrestle injured, but wrestle hurt. And he said if he knew that, then he would have encountered things differently in his career. He talked about the Hollywood opportunity he got, basically the big show that he's going to be a part of with Bert Kreischer, Snoop Dogg, Rosario Dawson, etc. So then he talked about AEW's 1-year existence and how it could be accumulated to the 3 workhorse champions that there are right now. He talked about Hikaru Shida, talked about Jon Moxley, then he went over Brodie Lee. And when he was asked about does he accept Brodie Lee's challenge, he initially said no. He walked up to the ramp or walked up to the stage, came back, grabbed the microphone. He said no regrets, that he does exactly accept Brodie Lee's challenge next week for the TNT Championship rematch. And then a brawl escalated with the Dark Order and the Nightmare Family with Brandy, with Anna Jay, with the women of it got kind of chaotic, which at the end, which was kind of odd. I mean, didn't really need it, but they did what I guess they could do or thought was right to build more hype to this match, but was not really needed. But I'm intrigued to see how this match can go for next week. Now, Brodie Lee, I mean, considering what the Nightmare Family has been through, still, does Cody win? But at the same time, it's 50-50 booking. If Cody wins, then does that build up to something else? I'm not sure. I would think the right decision is to have Brodie Lee win again, but because Cody, he built up the TNT Championship, and it's it's the second biggest title on the show, besides the AEW World Championship. But now it's on Brodie Lee, and with it, Brodie Lee has helped propel the Dark Order into a new height. Now, like I said, I'm not sure. I mean, it could go either way, but I'm just not sure. And I haven't. The last time I saw a dog color match was Abyss vs. Raven at No Surrender in 2005, back in TNA, but I'm not sure how it's going to go. But it should be interesting. So, next up we have backstage interview of FTR with Tony Schiavone and Tony Blanchard. Now, you see why. So, they were talking about the Rush to Greatness, SCU, the Best Friends, then Tony Schiavone, who was talking about Full Gear and who they could potentially face at Full Gear for the Tag Team Championships. And then right then, super kick to Tony Schiavone by the Young Bucks. And then it's just little by little, they're trying to build the story between the Young Bucks and FTR. A more serious side, a more intense side of the Young Bucks. I just can't wait for this match. I mean, if you're a pro wrestling fan, you have been excited about this match for 6 years. 6 years, and it's going to happen soon. But yeah, it's going to be really intriguing when we finally get the match. I think there are about 15% fans available. Hopefully that can build to 20 to 20. Well, because last Thursday night at AT&T Bank Stadium in Jacksonville, the Jaguar Stadium, there was a fourth of full capacity in attendance. So maybe they can, for Daly's place, maybe they can fill that void just a little bit, because that match needs fans. I mean, yes, there's 15%, but if we could get just closer, that would add more to the match. But yeah, so next up we had FTR versus SCU. This is pretty fun. This back and forth. So early in the match, Cash Wheeler, well, it was Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, and then Daniels was at ringside. So one spot after Cash went off the ropes, he stumbled, and then, well, Daniels was on that side of the ring, and he faked that he was tripped by Daniels. So he was trying to feint it, make his case, and then the ref saw that Daniels was on the side, and he ejected Daniels from ringside. So automatically, that was it's basically 3 versus 2, because of course FTR has Tully out by ringside. So Daniels was ejected. Nice Tope con Hero by Sky onto FTR on the outside. Sky was getting worked on. They had a hot tag to Kazarian. He cleaned the house. Nice Northern Lights Jackknife cover combination. Then he hit a fisherman suplex for near fall. Was a double team roll up by FTR for 2 count. There were moments when SU looked like they were going to pull off the upset. They had a bunch of roll ups during this match for near falls. Dueling counters by SCU for a 2 count. Then a beautiful powerbomb dragon suplex combination by FTR for 2. Then it looked like FTR was going for a doomsday device or something like that. Then Kazarian caught Cash in midair and landed a power slam for a 2 count. Like, geez. And then Cash and I believe it was Sky near the ropes. Sky went for a suplex, was tripped up by Tully Blanchard, and then Tully Blanchard held down Sky's foot so he couldn't kick out of the pin by Cash, and FTR steal one from SU. They're successful in their first brush of greatness. This was a long match. I thought that it could potentially go with the time limit because they said that if it goes the time limit, then it counts as a win in the win column for FTR. But FTR, they walk out and are successful in the first brush of greatness. So next up, we had because Hangman Adam Page was on commentary as well. He had a thing of whiskey. So Excalibur, he announced that apparently there's going to be an 8-man tournament to determine and the finals is going to be at Full Gear, and the winner will get a world title match for the AEW World Championship, or title match for the AEW World Championship. Either way, excuse me. And 3 of the competitors will be Jungle Boy, Ray Phoenix, and Kenny Omega. And that confused Hangman because on commentary throughout the match, they were talking about, well, Kenny made his intentions clear that he's going into singles wrestling. And Hangman, he still believed that he and Kenny could get another crack at the World Tag Team Championships. Well, that took Hangman by surprise, and he left. So there was that. So next up, we had Chris Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy. This is okay. It was like a trial match basically for Isaiah Cassidy in singles department because he's really young. He's only 23. This was his first singles match at AEW. Of course, he's a member of Private Party. But yeah, this was an okay match for a while was Cassidy took the fight to Jericho to start. He had Senton Atomico for a near fall. Then it was hit with Juice Effect at the end by Jericho for the win. As expected, not run much to say. Outcome, Jericho. I like what he's doing. He's been building up talent, because that's kind of his job. Ever since he lost the AEW championship, it was his job to bring up the title, which he did, and then he dropped it to Moxley, and now he's building up talent, new talent in AEW, and can't really ask for better. But right come. Next, we had Miro and Kip Sabian. They were in an arcade. They were discussing plans for the bachelor party, and then all of a sudden, guy came in, took the place, Kip Sabian, and offered that he has a way to make the bachelor party really epic for Kip Sabian. So there's that. Miro, I guess they're still trying the waters, bringing in Miro to the AEW audience. I don't love this angle, but I don't hate it because in a way they're help bring out Miro's personality. And Miro, there was talk about his injury last week. He looks to be okay, but I would like to see him in the ring again. But this was fine. So next we had Orange Cassie face off against 10 of the Dark Order. This was interesting because of 10. I mean, 10, he's a solid prospect. He had a really good showing against Orange Cassie. He's a physical specimen. Like they said, he used to be playing college football. Yeah, he had a good showing. Orange Cassie, he hit an error crash on 10 for the win. Round outcome, but good showing. 10. There was a spot to start the match when 10 took Orange's glasses off him and he put them on John Silver, who is probably the most hilarious guy of the Dark Order, and one of the best things about being the elite. He was mocking Orange Cassie, but other than that, just fine. Orange Cassie, they said they're building new stars of AEW, and Orange Cassie definitely works. So next we had MJF Backstage. He and Wardlow went to the Inner Circle's room backstage and gave them jackets except for Sammy Guevara and MJF. He blamed it on Wardlow. So back and forth. Chris Jericho and MJF were asking each other, well, do you want me to join the Inner Circle? Do you want to be in the Inner Circle? It was odd. Once again, Chris Jericho and MJF has some brewing. I mean, we heard how MJF, he wants to join a faction. And then at the end, Sammy Guevara said, what a loser, implying to MJF. And Chris Jericho was like, well, maybe not. So, a question. Would MJF be... I don't think... Well, Sammy Guevara works for the Inner Circle. And it works for Sammy because him flying solo, I don't think would be that working. But could MJF supplant Sammy Guevara and join the Inner Circle? That's a thought. Just thought. Plus, it would be curious because MJF has Wardlow as his heavy, and there's already a heavy in the Inner Circle with Jake Hager. So that would kind of be odd for MJF to join the Inner Circle, especially. But we'll see how this progresses through the coming weeks. But there's something that's going on there. So next we have Britt Baker in her first actual match, returning from injury. She was in that god-awful tooth or nails match at All Out with Big Swole. But this was her first real match back in ring. She was with Reba. She faced Red Velvet. This was okay. She had a swinging neck breaker, then a boot for the win. Afterwards, she applied the lockjaw with a rubber glove. Nothing really much. See, Britt Baker's great. She has a great look. She's beautiful. But over the past couple weeks, with Thunder Rosa sliding in, and Diamante and Ivelisse, there has been kind of a growing of the women's division. And the women's division getting better with better wrestlers. They could use a few more. Obviously, Chris Statlander is still injured. She's still recovering. But they could still use some more names in the division. Britt Baker is a name. However, she still needs to get better. And she's still new to the business, the wrestling business. So we'll see. But we still need to see more for her to be on par with, say, Thunder Rosa, Sheeta, Ivelisse, and Diamante. But this is okay for what it was. So then we got to the main event. Jon Moxley versus a opponent of Eddie Kingston's choosing. So Eddie Kingston came out with the Lucha Brothers, and they asked Mike Rensburg, who was the referee, who was the referee for Boxley and Eddie Kingston's match last week. He was questioning why did he ring the bell for their match and end the match. Well, Rensburg explained, well, you were unresponsive, and it is my job to protect you from yourself. So it looked like the Lucha Bros were going to gang up and attack Rensburg, but Moxley showed up for that, and then Eddie Kingston announced that, hey, you're not going to face me, you're not going to face Phoenix or Pentagon. And then the Butcher came out and blindsided Moxley and said, or Kingston said, you're going to face the Butcher. So the Butcher came out. He was wearing a weird apron, I guess, because he's the Butcher. So, but this match was alright. The Butcher can definitely move for a big man. Butcher and the Blade have definitely been an improving tag team as of late. One of the probably the breakout stars of AEW so far in the tag team realm. But this is good. So Butcher was targeting the knee on Moxley, went for submission holds. Butcher, he actually crashed into the guardrail on the outside, which bought Moxley some time. He landed a crossbody for a near fall. Then there was suplex by Moxley. Hit a pile driver for a near fall. Then he went for the bulldog choke on Butcher. Butcher tapped out. Moxley retains the AEW title. A. Kingston was throwing a fit, and that was kind of a show go off the air. So, next week, I think because it takes 2 weeks quarantine from COVID. So I think that Archer may be cleared next week. So maybe they have a confrontation. I don't know. But we'll see. Because the match ain't till the 14th. So, but be interesting to see. Because I think Archer will be clear for next week. Because either way, I can't wait for that match on the 14th. Should be interesting. Moxley, hopefully we know more about this tournament for the AEW, for the number one contendership, for Moxley's world title at Full Gear, but we're getting closer to Full Gear, and interesting to see who Moxley faces at Full Gear, because a lot of storylines are brewing right now. Considering we got Chris Jericho and MJF, we got Moxley and Archer, but Kingston's kind of sliding into that realm. Excuse me, I think that maybe what we could get at Full Gear is maybe there's a fuck finish on the anniversary show with Moxley and Archer, and then we get a triple threat at Full Gear between Moxley, Archer and Kingston. That's probably the realm. And then the winner of that faces the... Because they said the finals was going to be a full year of the tournament. So I think maybe the winner of that then faces the winner of the tournament. I'm not sure, but interesting. Next week is the 30-year anniversary of Chris Jericho in pro wrestling. Um, he and Jake Hager will face the Chaos Project next week, which is Luther and Serpentico, who have accumulated a couple wins on AEW Dark, but still should be an alright show next week. But again, thank you all for joining me. That was the review. So Tuesday, we'll have sports overview topics. So the Tennessee Titans and Pittsburgh Steelers game has been postponed due to more members of the Tennessee Titans getting positive or testing positive for COVID. So I'll be one less game to cover for this week, but nonetheless, I'll have an episode of Sports Overview Topics on Tuesday. So again, thank you all for joining me. I'm Joe Chewing Up, and I'll be back. See you on Tuesday.